Sorry? Don't mention years.
I think you should wish us all a happy.
Wish us all a happy what? Oh, well, I do wish you, everybody, a happy and successful New Year. Okay. Apologies. We have a few apologies and we have a couple of late arrivals, it seems. Rich?
Yeah, we have apologies from Councillors Ron Burnett, Stuart Evans, Norma Parish, Wayne Tomlinson and Mike Jeremiah.
Okay. And we're expecting Stuart Ashley and Jessica Powell to join us before too long. They're apparently on the bus. Well, hopefully they're off the bus by now and walking towards us, but we'll see. I'm not going to do the full introduction, safe to say, for the benefit of our visitor, that in the event of the fire alarm sounding, it's because there's a concern and the advice is to leave the building by the appropriate exits, and you will be assisted by the officers, because members wouldn't bother. Well, we'd all bother to assist you to find the route out, as we would be in trying to make sure that we got out as well. These proceedings will only be conducted in English because we haven't had a request to deal with them through the medium of Welsh, which had we had that, we would have been happy to facilitate that. And the warning is that the whole meeting is being webcast, so at any point in time you could be on camera or anything you say could be recorded. For that purpose, there's no need for anybody to record the proceedings themselves, but just be aware that you could be seen. We'll move on to declarations of interest. Tim.
Thank you, Chair. A couple of declarations I'm aware of. Firstly, Councillor Taylor, I think you have a number of personal non-prejudicial interests to declare in relation to I think there are 5 applications on today's agenda where Pontypool Community Council were consulted, or at least are marked as consultees, and you're a member of that Community Council. That would be applications numbers 8, 13, 14, 15 and 16. So can you confirm that you declare a personal interest in relation to those, please?
That is correct.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Seaborn, application number 5 on the list, which relates to Cumfredor Primary School. I believe you wish to declare a personal but non-prejudicial interest in relation to that one, because a close relative of yours lives immediately adjacent to the site. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you, Councillor Seaborn. And then Councillor Furzer, in relation to application 9 on the list, which comes into the Blaenavon Ward, and Blaenavon Town Council were consulted. Then again, as a member of that council, I believe you wish to declare a personal but non-prejudicial interest. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you, Councillor Furzer. And just to remind all members that could they note in the appropriate sheets on the attendance register those interests, and when it comes round to them. Chair, there will probably be a couple of interests also for Councillors Powell and Councillor Ashley, who've just arrived. So I'll give them a moment to take a seat.
You ran up, did you, Stuart? You ran up the hill, did you? Okay, we're just on declarations of interest. A couple of items.
Yeah.
We'll have advice on.
There's 3.
Hang on.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, in relation to both Councillor Ashley and also Councillor Jessica Powell, I noted that there was one application on today's list, number 12, concerning 21 Commercial Street, Cwmbran, where the Cwmbran Community Council were consulted. So I anticipated you'd both want to declare personal but non-prejudicial interest in relation to that application. Is that correct from both of you?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and was there any other matters that... Number 7, that's going to be deferred, Councillor Ashley. Number 14.
I'm a member of Monenbreck Canal Restoration Group, right, and that actually does mention them in there. Because it's on the canal bank. It might be pertinent, it might not. Tell me if it is or isn't, you would, please.
Okay, well, what I suggest then, Councillor Ashley, is declare a personal but non-prejudicial interest out of an abundance of caution on that one would be my advice. Okay? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. We need to go to item 3, isn't it? Minutes of the meeting of the 13th of December. We'll go through them for consideration as to whether or not they're a true record. I'm just trying to find them now on my iPad. So page 5, I believe. So page 5, page 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, you happy to accept those as a true record? Moved. Is that agreed? Fine, thank you. Move on to item 4, which is on page 21. Planning appeals, that's the report there for information. Anybody wish to ask a question or comment? Nope. Jolly good. Can we note that then, please?
Note the report, Chair.
Thank you very much. Then, item 6. I think members have been advised that this is being deferred to
Chair, you've got item 5.
Sorry? I thought I was going to take 6 first and 7 to get them out of the way because they are deferred, because they're both very similar applications. They're not for us to determine, but I think members need to be aware, if not already, that views have been expressed by our local MP concerning whether or not the report deals with all of the issues, legal issues, in the fullest way, and on the basis of that he has written to Richard, and the view is that that needs to be looked at before we take the matter formally through the planning committee process, albeit it is only for noting rather than determination. So that is being deferred till the next meeting to allow that consideration to be given.
Do you want me to note the deferment of the 2 items, Chair?
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks. I just want to check with Richard that he's happy with what I said then.
It's fine, yeah.
Good, good. So we will go back now to item 5, on which Richard will also explain how we're dealing with it.
Bring clear in now, if I can, to explain the late correspondence we've had.
Thank you, Chair. Some late consultation responses that we've had. Members will note this relates to 5 different discharge or condition applications. They have been merged into one report to aid members' understanding of them because they're quite complicated and they inter-affect each other really, the issues from the different conditions, which is why it's been presented in the way it has. In terms of late correspondence, we've had some observations from Pontypool Community Council in respect of 16P 01408, which is discharge of condition 13, which is the mining strategy for the school extension. Pontypool Community Council raising no objections. Significantly, we've had some further correspondence from Natural Resources Wales, NRW, which does affect the recommendation on the bottom of page 37. Members will note that we received some information quite late, so we sent that off and hadn't had NRW's response at the time of writing the report. We've now received 2 letters from NRW dated the 11th of January in response to the information that we received on the 6th. As a result of that, NRW now are recommending that we can discharge condition 11 of 16P01366, which is to do with the car park. And similarly, they've recommended discharge of condition 13, which is 16P01408, which is to do with the extension. So the slight change to the recommendation, application to approve 1351 remains as it is, but we now also want to approve 1366 and 1408 because NRW have confirmed no objection. However, we still retain the recommendation in regards to the other two applications, just so we're clear for members. 16P01319 is for conditions 5 to 7 of the car park application, and 16P01318 is conditions 9 to 11 of the extension application. Both of those we're still waiting confirmation from NRW on their position. We only sent information to them on the 10th. So the recommendation would be revised that the Head of Development Management be authorised to grant permission in accordance with the information received on the 10th of the 1st, subject to NRW having no objection to that. Thank you.
Okay, any questions on that? Jolly good. So you've been asked to approve subject to those where there are still outstanding responses from NRW which need to be considered, but that you give delegated powers to the Head of Development Management to determine those. Councillor Taylor.
Chair, on the NRW reports and all, will this still be brought back to full planning, or is it going to be decided by officers?
Well, what I just said was that it would be delegated to the Head of Development Management to determine those issues if he were satisfied with the responses from NRW. If there is no satisfaction in those responses, or if there's a question mark, then undoubtedly you'll bring it back to committee. That's it? Yep. Okay.
Sorry, Chair. I think that, and I would like this to be brought back before the planning, not be decided by officers behind closed doors. You know, I think it should be brought into the planning arena because the public can see what is going on here, and, you know, openness and fairness is what is intended. Thank you.
Yeah, just to say that these deals with land stabilisation and water pollution. They're very technical issues, and the reports are very technical. It was NRW and British Coal, that actually, the Coal Authority, that actually wanted the conditions. We would sign them off if NRW and the Coal Authority are happy with them, but not if they're not happy with them. So what we are saying is that in terms of officers making the decision, we are very much reliant on those bodies coming back with no objections. And hence, if they come back and say no objections, we can literally approve those conditions. So we're asking for delegated powers to do that rather than go another 3 or 4 weeks in coming back to you.
Yeah, there is no question of this being agreed by the Head of Development Management without either NRW or Coal Authority approval of the conditions. So if they do approve, then it's a negative thing in the sense that there's nothing really left for us to do. If they don't, then the matter has to come back before this committee. You happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Councillor Seaborn.
If there are no more questions from any members, Chair, I would like to move the officer's recommendation and the delegated powers given to the officers to approve the recommendations of the list.
So that's seconded. You're all happy then that we're approving subject to those conditions being fulfilled to the satisfaction of the Coal Authority and to the NRW, and that Richard will monitor and make sure that that is the case, and if not, it will come back to committee. Okay, all those in favour then? Good, that's unanimous, thank you. So we move on to item 8, which is about the Pennyway Lane development in Waynfelin, on which we've got a report and indeed a site visit report. Claire?
Thank you, Chair. Members will recall this application was deferred at the last meeting for a site visit, which was duly held last week on the 9th of January, I believe. The minutes are attached to the report. Issues that members raised during the debate at the last meeting have been incorporated into the report, and more information has been provided to try to address the concerns that members expressed at the last meeting. The only change I would wish to make to the report as published before you is in relation to condition 13, which requires approval of the local area of play to be agreed with us. We would just look to amend the reason for that to make it clear it's in relation to safety of the users as well as visual amenity. I think some members expressed concern about the proximity of the play area to the highway and the possible need for some sort of safety barrier or railing to prevent children running into the road, which can be incorporated in the details in relation to that condition.
Thank you. That condition is on page 69, I think. 79. Oh, the commentary on it is on 69 and the condition itself 79. Yeah, quite right. Any questions or comments? No? Councillor Constance.
Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned with this one, Brian. I think for the size of the development, I think the amount of houses being put on there is too many, to be honest. I'm not really satisfied with the drainage system either. I'm a little bit concerned about this one. Thank you, Chair.
Anyone else on those comments from Councillor Constance? Anybody got anything to add? Councillor Taylor?
Yes, I'm a little bit concerned really about the drainage situation. You know, I was at the site visits and, there were concerns about the drainage, so that is I think one of the most important things. So if they want to elaborate what could be done.
Well, the recommendation is subject to a condition that the drainage details submitted with the application are not considered to necessarily deal with the matter satisfactorily, and that therefore further drainage sort of strategy should be submitted prior to any work on the development. Words to that effect, I think. Yeah?
Yes, thank you, Chair. If I just elaborate on that. Members will be aware that our drainage officer was present at the site meeting and advised of the problems that have been evident with the development that's already on the site. I would have members be mindful of the fact that they can build a further 21 units on that site with that old, already proven to be inadequate drainage system. What we're suggesting here is that they actually revise the drainage proposals to bring them up to satisfactory standard to accommodate further development on that site. And that's what Condition 7 seeks to address.
Chair, I understand what the officer has just said there, but on page 74, I just get a little bit annoyed where Welsh Water has raised no objections to this proposal. I just can't understand why, if our drainage officer has got concerns, surely Welsh Water should have concerns about this as well, and yet they say they've no objections. Until something happens, then Welsh Water want to get involved, but I think they should have commented for now.
Well, the issue, there's 2 points being raised. One, obviously, the drainage issue, which we're just talking about, but the explanation is that the development would not be allowed to take place until such time as an adequate drainage strategy has been submitted to the approval of the drainage expert within the council. So that's well, that's pretty clear, but you know, it still doesn't invalidate your view. With regard to the overcrowding, as Councillor Constance put it, that was a view which was considered at the site meeting, and it remains really for this committee to decide whether you agree with that or not. But the officers are recommending, notwithstanding those concerns, that the project itself should receive planning permission, subject obviously to the various conditions. But it's a matter for you to determine whether you're happy with that or whether you wish to move an amendment to that effect.
Yes, Chair, I just want to say that when on the site visit, I agree with some of the concerns, but the conditions seem to allay them. And given the need for one-bed properties in particular, I'd be happy to move, given in accordance with the officer's recommendations.
Okay, that's moved. That it be approved subject to the conditions. Is that seconded, please? Councillor Thurza has seconded, and Councillor Seaborn. Does anybody wish to move an amendment? No? Do you wish to debate it? Nope. You ready to vote? So it's been moved and seconded that the officer's recommendation be approved, which includes the conditions that need to be fulfilled before the development can take place. All those in favour, please show. All those against? That's carried. Thank you. Right. Item 9. Oh, my iPad's just done something funny. There we are. So I'm just talking to myself, really, because my the machinery is not behaving. It's nothing to do with me. It's not my fault at all. So item 9 is the felling of a beech tree on the grass verge on the side of Capel Newydd in Blaenavon. Councillor Ashley, our tree experts, muttered something to the effect it seemed reasonable. Do you wish to comment officially on those lines?
Well, yes. There's a few applications in here for tree felling, and they don't seem unreasonable in the light of the scrutiny we did fairly recently on said subject. Trees live and trees die. That's one comment I was going to make, and it's not an unreasonable one. The only other comment I don't know this site, haven't seen it. Is there a scheme of replanting? Question. Local members, not even intended.
No, I think because of the location being on the periphery of a woodland area, we felt that it wasn't necessary for a replacement tree in this instance.
All
okay.
I would say is, could I move it then in that case?
Is that seconded? We only need one seconder. Councillor Davis on this occasion. I'll give you that privilege. Are you ready to vote? All those in favour, please show. It's unanimous. Thank you. Thank you. Just saying that we went on a site visit probably a year or so ago now before the building started and had a look at the site generally. On that basis, this seems relatively straightforward, but Councillor Davis, Ashley, sorry.
It's my name. It is the. Could I just ask, is it the actual barrier or is it the thing in the site? Because I cycled past it the other day and I was trying to rack my brain what it is, because they've actually put in a very nice barrier there, which was better than the temporary thing they had there. And I'm wondering whether it's the lights, the entrance into the school ground, or the barrier that we're looking at here, because I was trying to work out which you meant.
Well, it's concerned, it says in the title, it's concerning the footway and the controlled crossing. So, and the cycleway crossing. So there's three elements to that. So,
but if it is, they've done a very nice job there, because it's already there, isn't it?
Yeah, the work's done.
So I'll move it in that case, if I may.
Okay. Is that seconded? That's great, great. Anybody want to ask a question or comment on it? Ready to vote? All those in favour, please show. Unanimous again. Good, thank you. Oops. And the next one, same site, different condition, boundary treatment. Anybody got any comments or questions in relation to that?
Chair, could I recommend approval, please? Approval of the recommendations?
Been moved. Is that seconded?
Second up.
Thank you. Councillor Constance, I think. You ready to vote? All those in favour, please show. Unanimous again. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This application is to extend the opening hours of an existing food takeaway in the middle of Podnewith Village. There it is, there on the corner, next to the Betton office, I believe. So the current opening hours are 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday only, and the application seeks to extend those hours to 8 a.m. to 10:45 p.m. in the evening on the Monday to Saturday. A similar application was refused in 2013 to extend the opening hours up until 11:30 at night. We refused that application on the basis of potential for grounds of disturbance and antisocial behaviour in the village centre. At that time, there was a lot of local opposition to the proposal to extend those opening hours, and there was a substantial objection from the police, who noted that there had been 44 records of antisocial behaviour in the previous 6 months. The current application, there's no objections from local residents, and the police have said that the proposal does not cause them any concern either, so there's been that change since the previous refusal. Also, since that previous refusal, there's been an appeal decision relating to number 4 Commercial Street, which is this property here. And basically, the council refused permission, and then the inspector came back and allowed consent, and he said that previous planning decisions regarding A3 uses were based on concerns regarding antisocial behaviour in the area. However, given that the nearby public house, which I think is the Podney within opposite, had closed, and he says there was no substantive evidence of any recent public order offences, and he considered there had been a change to the context of late night activities within the area. So that appeal decision sort of has bearing on this, because the inspector then was saying later opening hours, and that was allowed to open till 11, 7 days a week. He thought that the circumstances had changed and it was okay to open till that time now. So on the basis that there seems to be a material change within the village, that previous issue of concern about antisocial behaviour has appeared to change now. So on that basis, we're recommending approval.
Sorry, wrong button. Any comments? Councillor Seaborn.
Thank you, Chair. When I read the report and looked at the diagram that's in the report, I was a little bit concerned where it is situated, and the comments about cars parking or indiscriminate parking along the highway with the tight corners. But if officers are recommending it, then they must have done the survey for it.
Yeah, highways have objected on the basis that those extra hours in the evening could cause indiscriminate parking, but we've taken a balanced view on this. We've looked at there is actually a car park in there and parking within the village, so I think the car park's over here, isn't it? And also in that appeal decision that I referred to for number 4 Commercial Street, the council had expressed concerns about indiscriminate parking within that, and the inspector says, I do not consider this threat to be so substantial so as to undermine highway safety. So similar circumstances for this site down there, and the inspector thought that was okay. So on balance, we're going okay with that.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. I think from a local member point of view, there is a problem of parking in Pont Newydd, as there is throughout most of Torfaen in some respects, and the village is a difficult area in which to park. But that problem is more acute during daylight hours, really, from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m. And of course this application is about the period from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and where, frankly, parking is a lot easier in the village in Pont Newydd. So it's a point well made, Councillor Seaman. I'm pleased that you drew attention to the parking problems in Pont Newydd, because it is a problem, but it is a problem which mainly is daytime. So, Councillor Ashton.
I would say this particular place tends to be mainly used by people who are pedestrian, so in respect. And the chip shop round the corner is actually used up until about this time, 10:30. So the sort of clientele that was more likely to use this particular place is more that type of clientele. So I don't see much of a problem with it. It's a different type of clientele. It's not people out of Pont Newydd. It does seem to be used by people in Pont Newydd. And that's, you know, I would support it on that basis.
Okay, anybody else got any comments on it? Anybody happy to move one way or another? Councillor Taylor?
I'll move it with the recommendations.
Seconded by Councillor Waits, and thirded by Councillor Davis. Ready to vote? Yep, all those in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. We're back to trees. Councillor Ashley. Item 13, Coity Brick Road. I don't think you need... well, it wasn't intended to make a presentation on this one.
No.
Any comments or questions, please? No comments or questions? Councillor Ashley, resident tree expert, is moving it. Seconded. Councillor Constance on this occasion. Ready to vote? All those in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 14.
I will make a comment on...
Councillor Ashley wishes to say something on item 14. Right.
Yeah, well, the point about item 14 is an interesting one, because it's actually what I said earlier about trees need to come down, and in fact that's asking for them to come down simply because it's a common problem that we did raise at scrutiny about remedial works, and it's a point well made in this application about taking them down, because we have had a lot of trees growing up and needing to take down, and some trees are not, they need to come down. And the whole of the canal area through the urban area has got a similar problem, and the old railway lines. This is a good example of that, in fact. I will support this. If there's not any more debate, I will move this one as well.
Well, yep, the recommendation is not to make a TPO in respect of the trees in that area, and that's what you're moving, presumably.
It's a really good example of not making TPOs for once.
Okay. Was that seconded? Councillor Davis seconded that one. Okay, you ready to vote? All those in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you.
This is the site of the proposed mast in this corner here. There's an existing floodlight. There are a number of floodlights obviously across the pitch. It's a proposal to replace this one. So that's how it looks at the moment, and it's proposed to install a telecommunications apparatus with the floodlights reattached at the same height. So the rugby pitch still get their floodlights, but they get a trade-off in terms of telecommunications. That's just a plan, just to show that there'll be some housing at the ground base. These are the existing rugby posts, and these are the existing floodlights. As you can see, there's quite some mature trees that screen the development to the west. Obviously, the residential properties are on the opposite side of the road. There's the opposite side of the road. So again, this is looking from the north, looking south along Emlyn Road, and there's some screening here as well.
Okay. Anybody got any comments on this particular one? You're silent. You ready to vote then? Anybody moving anything?
I'll move that one, Brian.
Oh.
I'll move that.
Councillor Constance got in before you, Councillor Seaborn. Sorry.
I will second that, Chair.
Seconded. Fine. Anybody else now wish to comment? All ready to vote? Have I said that already? Probably. Okay. All those in favour, please show. That too is unanimous. Thanks. And then page 119 for the next one, which is signage for the school. That's Yscol Pound Teg. You read the report? Anybody got any comments or questions?
Move it unless anybody's got any comments.
Right. Anybody got any comments? Is it seconded? If not, Councillor Taylor seconding it. Ready to vote? All those in favour, please show. That too is unanimous. Right. Let's just give you a heads up on the next few months. Next meeting is on the 14th of February, usual time, usual place. Currently, that's in the corporate diary. The one after that is on the 14th of March. And the one after that, in April, is on the 11th of April. And, of course, we are not affected by PERDA in respect of planning committee applications on the basis that we're not allowed to have any political input anyway, or party political input. So that's what's due to happen over the next few months. So please put those in your diary. You will be, of course, advised if there are any changes.
Can I please give my apologies, Chair, for the 14th of February. I will not
Taking
be.
your wife out to dinner, I know.
Yes.
Can we all come?
I don't know whether there's any seats on the plane if anybody else wants to come.
Sorry, apologies noted. Anyone else got apologies for next time? Oh, you sad people. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Meeting closed.